¿Quieres lo puesto para colgar? Aquí. O así
You can arrange the interview. Dignity New York, beginning in July, the first Tuesday of every month is going to be having a program on Manhattan Cable. It's called the Gay Catholic Hour. A news program devoted to the issues that are important to our community. Again, it's on Manhattan Cable, Channel 34. Before I begin, I'd like to introduce several people who helped put this all together. Again, the guy with the camera, Ted Cat, who works with me on the young adult ministry. Gentleman over there with red hair, Charlie Ober. Gentleman sitting in back of him, Charlie McCarran, who's going to be up in a second to speak. There you go. He's hiding in the back. Danielle Castellano, who is the community liaison for the Hispanic AIDS Forum, and also with Colega, the Colombian Lesbian Gay Association. Jimmy Lopez, he's over here. He's with also the Hispanic AIDS Forum and Latino Gay Men of New York and Atlanta, right?
And Pride.
Excuse me, Pride, Puerto Rican Initiative to Develop Empowerment.
Hey.
I'm new at this. Also, the lady sitting back of him is Carla. She is the organizer, chairperson, head honchos of LINE, which is Latinas my Spanish is very bad. De Vente, Nueva York. Gentlemen, I will introduce in a few moments Father Don Doherty in the village at St. John's Episcopal Church. It's at Sundays at 7:30. There's a social that follows afterwards. We have an AIDS ministry, young adult ministry, various other social activities throughout the year. There's some literature on the table, different things that are coming up. We have a Pride dance next Saturday night. On the 29th, we'll be having our annual Pride Mass. And, of course, the rally next Sunday and the march and parade on the 30th. I'd like to begin tonight with a little bit about the history and the purpose for us being here tonight, Dignity. And I'd like to introduce Charlie McCarran.
I'm Charlie McCarran. I'm a member of the steering committee of Dignity New York. There's a few of us here. We almost have a quorum. A number of us come from Queens, and there had been a chapter of Dignity in Queens till, I don't know, maybe around 5 years ago? 4 or 5 years ago. And it sort of died a natural death, I guess. One of the things, I am also one of Dignity's priests. I was ordained 10 years ago, and one of the reasons that I left the official priesthood was to be able to do more openly gay ministry, even though I was fortunate enough to work in a diocese in Long Island where we had an official gay ministry. I was also director of AIDS services for Long Island Catholic Charities, and am part of, I know are there some from ACQCs. I'm one of Luis Ortega's peer educators at ACQC. The reasons for this is, I think, a need here in Queens for a place for us as gay Catholics to experience our faith. we have a large Catholic community here. There's also one of my concerns, a large Latino Catholic community here as well. And I thought it would be important for us to try to outreach to see if we could help people form the germ of maybe a community here, a Dignity community here in Queens. So one of my hopes for tonight, to arise out of our time together, is if we could have the germ, the start of whatever would develop out here in Queens, in Jackson Heights. Maybe it would be a monthly liturgy. Maybe it would be a monthly group. Maybe we would just celebrate some of the big feasts out here. Christmas or Easter or Guadalupe or Providencia or whatever we would want to celebrate, Three Kings. Also to give us a chance here tonight, I guess, immediately to try to raise some of the issues that affect us as people who are gay and lesbian and transgendered and Catholic. I think for many of us, our faith can be the source of our greatest hope and our greatest strength, but in some of the ways it has been given expression, it can also be the source of much of our pain and much of our guilt. And what we come together in dignity, besides celebrating Eucharist together, which is probably one of the greatest things we can do together, we also celebrate our relationship with God and with each other as a community of faith, as lesbians, gay men, and transgendered people. That is something that we bring to God, something that God has given us as gift, something that makes us very special, and something we also should give as gift back to the church, but also to each other. Because within our faith tradition are some of the greatest sources of answer and hope that we can find in our life. And there's no reason for us to be cut off from that. So I invite you to share. I'm sure Father Don's going to stir up a lot of stuff. And to be comfortable. I know it's hard, we're with a bunch of strangers, but be comfortable, ask questions about your faith. This is a great opportunity for us to share, and then hopefully, maybe tonight won't be the last night we'll gather here. Maybe we will move to something else. As a faith community, Dignity has also been involved, as Kevin said, in what would be social outreach, particularly HIV services, and also other issues. Certainly, many of the groups that joined with us tonight as co-sponsors, we would like to bring the faith dimension and our own tradition's teaching of social justice in terms of HIV issues in the community here, immigration issues, issues around employment, job, justice at work. All those things are also something that we would like to bring the strong social justice perspective of our faith. So I welcome, thank you for coming, and I think this is going to be a great night together. Thanks.
Thanks, Charles. Before I bring up Father Don, I'd like to bring up a few people. Just say a couple of brief words. Danielle from Palega and the Hispanic AIDS Forum.
Good evening. I'm going to say this in English and in Spanish. When Kevin asked me to say something about tonight, I thought about talking about Colega, and but I think there is something more important that I would like to say tonight. That something that is affecting our community here in Queens, as something that is affecting us as gay men and lesbians. probably some of you know that Julio Rivera was killed in 1991. He was a gay man, a Latino gay man who was killed in a gay-related crime. Vichy, who is one of the three killers, is on the streets. He didn't come back for the trial, and the police doesn't know where he is. It seems that the family knows where he is, but obviously it seems that they are not going to turn him in. Also, it's important that the district attorney hasn't been as collaborative as he could be, and also the judge refused to provide as much help as he could provide. For that reason, this Saturday at 12 p.m. there will be a rally here in Jackson Heights. It will come from Elmhurst to Jackson Heights, to the school where Julio Rivera was killed. The information is there in a flyer, and Colega is joining the march in Magic Touch, the place where he was seen for the last time before he was killed. And then from then we will go to the public school where he was killed. Buenas noches, quiero decir un poco acerca de Julio Rivera, quien fue asesinado en 1991. Uno de los asesinos, uno de los tres asesinos, cuyo nombre es Vichy, está suelto en las calles. Él no se apareció a la corte, y el procurador del distrito y el juez que tenía el caso no han sido tan cooperadores como hubieran podido ser, y por esa razón va a haber una protesta este sábado a las 12 del día, saliendo de Elmhurst, de la casa de Vichy hasta la escuela donde él fue asesinado, donde Julio Rivera fue asesinado. Colega va a unirse a la marcha en Magic Touch, el sitio donde Julio Rivera fue visto por última vez antes de que fuera asesinado esa noche. Es un crimen que afecta a todos nosotros aquí como residentes de esta área, Jackson Heights, Elmhurst y Corona, y como gays y lesbianas. Los invito a unirse, y gracias a ustedes por la oportunidad. Quizás no está tan relacionado con el tema que vamos a hablar hoy, pero pienso que es importante para la comunidad.
Thanks, Andy. Caller?
Hello, my name is Carla Moscoso, and I'm the chairperson for Latinos, Latinas de Ambiente New York, which also stands for Yanni. And at first I didn't know I was going to speak today, but I decided to change my mind and mention a couple of words of how I believe how important that it is that we're having this forum today. Yanni has had two forums previously, one in the fall regarding spirituality and sensuality, and recently one in May regarding Santeria. And there's a lot of debate amongst gays and lesbians in the community regarding religion, because people don't feel that they're accepted in Catholic or Christian anywhere. So we've had these two different workshops and forums and try to find out ways in which we can all work together, maybe find and educate each other on ways maybe we can find a sense of spirituality and religion amongst all of us. So I'd like to thank Kevin and Dignity for inviting us here, and we hope that Yanni can help the rest of the organization, anyone else, and maybe help finding a way for all of us to reach that spirituality. That's it.
Thanks, Colin. Jimmy Lopez?
Hi, I work at the Hispanic AIDS Forum in the program Entre Hombres, which is an HIV prevention program directed at Latino, gay, and bisexual men. And we have a lot of different programs. We provide individual counseling, support groups, workshops, case management, community outreach to that community. I have information about our program. There's a workshop coming up next Thursday which is June 27, on protease inhibitors and viral load. And that will be in Spanish at Elmhurst Hospital, where the Hispanic AIDS Forum is working with them. Quiero invitar a todos los miembros de la comunidad a un taller que hay el próximo jueves, el 27 de junio, en el Hospital Elmhurst. El Hispanic AIDS Forum va a tener un taller sobre los inhibidores de proteasa y la carga viral. Y están todos invitados, no tienen que ser cliente del foro hispano o paciente del hospital de Elmhurst, está abierto a toda la comunidad latina. También quiero invitar a las personas que estén interesados en el proyecto Entre Hombres. Nosotros tenemos, los programas incluye consejería privada, también incluye grupo de apoyo para hombres negativos, que son VIH negativos y positivos, y alcanza la comunidad y tenemos diferentes talleres a través del año. I also represent I'm involved in 2 other Latino gay and lesbian organizations. Latino Gay Men of New York, which is now it's been around for 5.5 years. And the topic of spirituality and how do we reconcile our sexuality with our spirituality has been dealt with in different discussion groups that we've had in the organization. So when we were asked if we wanted to co-sponsor this, we thought that would be a very good thing for us to do. And some of our members and founding members have also been involved in other groups. Some were involved either in Dignity or Metropolitan Community Church of New York, so this was a topic of interest. Also, I'm involved with PRIDE, Puerto Rican Initiative to Develop Empowerment, and we have some information if people want. There's also a dance coming up, so I'm just doing a little plug here. And the dance is open to everybody. It's next Friday in the Lower East Side, and the information is also at the table. También quería decir que estoy envuelto en otras 2 organizaciones, que es Hombres Latinos Gay de Nueva York, y esta organización ya ha existido por 5 años y medio. Y el tema de la espiritualidad y la sexualidad ha sido un tema que varias veces a través de los años se ha traído en el grupo y ha habido diferentes grupos de discusiones. Algunos de los fundadores de la organización han estado envueltos en otras organizaciones como la Iglesia Comunidad Metropolitana o en Dignity también. Y estoy invitado a todos que quieran ir hay un baile que es el próximo viernes, el 28 de junio, que es auspiciado por el grupo puertorriqueño de lesbianas y hombres gay, que se llama Pride. Gracias.
Thanks, Jimmy. There's one other gentleman I forgot to introduce earlier, and I do apologize. His name is Jose. He's with Alianza. Alianza. I do my Spanish today. Dominicana. They're up in the Washington Heights area, and he came all the way down to Queens tonight. Please welcome a few words from Jose.
Muy buenas noches. I got a problem with my English, and then I go to speaking Spanish, okay? I'm sorry. Yo soy José Moreno, vengo de Alianza Dominicana. Alianza Dominicana es una institución que está fundamentada en Washington Heights, donde está centrada la mayor población dominicana. Esta institución tiene diferentes componentes y uno de ellos se llama el programa HOPE, que tiene que ver con lo que son asuntos sobre SIDA. Y dentro del programa HOPE entonces está el proyecto Encuentros, que comenzó hace exactamente 4 meses a funcionar. Este proyecto es para los muchachos y muchachas gay y lesbianas de la comunidad del Alto Manhattan. Los hemos enfocado más en la población dominicana, porque el dominicano no quiere hablar así, por así, de su preferencia sexual, en el orden de que sea gay y lesbiana. Entonces nosotros estamos haciendo un llamado a las muchachas y los muchachos de la comunidad del Alto Manhattan y de cualquier parte de Nueva York que nos unamos a trabajar por lo que son nuestros intereses, que si nosotros los homosexuales y lesbianas no nos unimos, entonces vamos a seguir abajo. Y en ese sentido y orden, nosotros estamos representando hoy a Alianza Dominicana, muy en especial el proyecto Encuentros. Nosotros hemos hecho diferentes actividades durante los 4 meses, como fue 2 lecturas de poesías escritas por muchachos y muchachas gay y lesbianas dominicanos. También hemos celebrado encuentros como son picnics y aguinaldo en diciembre y enero. Y dimos también un taller para Pierre Duqueiro. Nosotros queremos tener ya tenemos a 5 muchachos que son educadores comunitarios que van a multiplicar lo que son entonces los intereses del proyecto Encuentros. Nosotros nos encontramos en el 715 de la 179 y fue Washington, en el Alto Manhattan. Ahí estamos a la orden. Muchísimas gracias. Muy buenas noches.
main speaker. Tonight, immediately following, there will be a free buffet set up at the Music Box, which is on 74th Street and Broadway. So you're welcome to go to the Music Box. It's right up Broadway on 74th Street. And there'll be free buffets at like 10 o'clock, so if you're hungry.
Our hearts, when you fall in love, when you find that special someone, whoever he is, or she is, lo siento. In that attraction and in that love is the love of God, is how we, and in our tradition as Catholics, just as was said that in morality, sex is often spoken of, right? Everything's sex, sex. But in our spirituality, when someone like San Juan de la Cruz wants to talk about what it's like to approach God, he uses sex. He talks about it in terms of a sexual relationship. When John writes a poem, or many of our mystics, one of the greatest homoerotic pieces of poetry is John's Night of the Soul, when he talks about trying to find God and union with God. He talks about caressing his lover's neck. He talks about his lover's curls falling across his chest. And in that moment of bliss, all else fades away. Well, what's he talking about? And he's using that image to talk about what it's like to really encounter God. So in our tradition, for us as lesbian gay people, there are wonderful things which are ours, and which, as everybody says, no one else can tell us we can't have. And what's happening here is church. This is church. The people of God coming together, sharing God's word and our lives, and being healed, hopefully, and nourished and strengthened. So one of the things we have is this idea of the church, and then there's us, and we sit here and we listen to what they tell us. No. The Spirit of God and God's love is welling up in us, and in us as lesbian and gay people. And we add a special piece to how God's lived. So I just wanted to draw, because we can be kind of focused out, on what we are doing here, and how God is acting here, and how God brought us here tonight, and how we're blessed tonight, and how this is part of the movement of the Spirit in our church, what happened here tonight.
Thanks, Joe. Father Don, thank you for coming down and your words. Before I end, because we're only supposed to be here until 9:30, the gentleman would like to just acknowledge he's been with Dignity for a couple of years. He's retiring. He's done a lot of work in the community. He's done a lot of work for Dignity. And the gentleman said, "Why?" I'd like to thank Danielle for all the work he did. And remember the literature, the protest, it's going to be on Saturday. Caller, thanks for your help. Jose, Jimmy, and thank all of you for coming down here tonight. Those of you that want to be interviewed for the Catholic Gay Hour.
Okay, so we're rolling. Let me get back a little.
Get in touch with you and have you.
You're going to ask me a question, or?
Well, just tell me who you are, what your name is, and if you could keep it personal, more like why you personally were here, and personally, because the organizational stuff I have in the speech.
Okay.
So tell us your name and what brought you here tonight.
I'm Jimmy Lopez Acosta, and to me this is a really important topic. I think as, especially as Latino gay men and Latina lesbians, a lot of times we've grown up in a church that that we've gotten these messages, very homophobic and oppressive messages, but yet all of us hunger for spirituality. We hunger for something more than just who we are, than what's physical, than what we see around us. There's something deep inside of us, and I've worked with a lot of different groups, and I've noticed that that's a need and a hunger that we all have for something that's spiritual, that connects us all. And so I thought that this was good to at least have the conversation about whether, you know, being gay and Catholic is something that's possible. And I felt, I mean, I had to struggle with that when I was much younger, and in my late teens and early 20s, and I had to make that decision whether I could really be a Catholic and a Latino gay man. And it was something that I had to struggle with, and finally I realized, yes, that God truly, really loves me, and that I can be who I am, and that God accepts me totally and completely.
What effect did you personally experience being here, listening to the speaker, and thinking your own thoughts while the speaker was talking?
Well, I thought that this was really exciting because, as far as I know, nothing like this has been done in Queens, meaning a talk in Spanish dealing with being both gay and Catholic. I mean, something directed mainly at the Latino gay community here. So I thought that that was really exciting. Something like that has not been done. I know there was a Dignity chapter here in Queens, but for something that attracted as many Latinos, I think I counted over 20, 25 Latinos here tonight. I think that's really a historic moment for Dignity as an organization, Dignity New York, and for the Latino lesbian gay community here in Queens. I think it's exciting that something like this happened tonight.
So what's something you're going to take home from what you heard tonight, or what occurred to you as you were listening?
Well, just the fact that it proves to me that our community does respond to a topic like this, that our community is interested, that you know, I'm just really impressed, because sometimes you would think, oh well, no one would show up to something like this, to a talk like this, and the fact that we have about 25 Latino lesbians and gay men that showed up tonight, I think that's pretty good. And I realize that the message needs to be brought out more and more in our community, in all sections of our community, because we live everywhere, not just in Queens, but in Brooklyn, the Bronx, and that there is a hunger and a need to talk about issues like that, about spirituality, about being gay, about integrating both who we are as sexual human beings and as spiritual human beings, as gays and lesbians, as Latinos, non-Latinos. I think that that's important.
Hey, great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Give me a couple of seconds to let it roll. I need some dead time, and I gotta let the editor know that this is a new start. Okay. Tell us your name.
My name is Carla Moscoso, and I'm the chairperson of Latinos, Latinas de Ambiente New York.
What did you think would happen when you came here tonight? What was your personal goal?
Well, my personal goal, first of all, I didn't think a lot of people were going to show up, and I was very surprised that there was a lot of people here, and I'm glad and that there was a lot of people from the Latino community. Being that I'm Latino is very important for me, and I realized that the whole topic of being Catholic is very important in our community, and that's a topic that I've stayed away personally, because that's something I'm still struggling with.
So was there a personal gain for you in being here? Did you pick up some ideas or feelings, or how personally do you think maybe you were moved by this?
It was personal. It was deep in the sense because I felt a little bit more comfortable with me being Catholic, and I went to Catholic school all my life, and I was always told I was going to go to hell. So I don't think I'm going to go to hell anymore. I mean, I kind of knew that, but now it's, you know, it's a little bit more, what's the word? I just know, you know, I'm good. I'm a good person.
What was it like to hear actually two Catholic priests talk about homosexuality the way they were?
It was great. I wish it really happened when I was in my teens. I didn't have all of this, or someone who I could speak to. It would have made me coming out, my whole coming out process much easier.
So what do you think, what do you hope happens next for you and in the future?
I hope that we can all these organizations that have been here, maybe get in touch with other organizations and discuss this topic more in our own communities. Being that this was held in Queens, just bring it out to the rest of the boroughs and get everyone involved, because this is a topic that needs to be addressed and discussed. It's very important in the community, especially the Latino community, which is predominantly Catholic.
Okay, is there anything else that you want to say?
Not really, just that I had a lot of fun doing this, and I'm glad we
great.
got involved.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you for sending out 500 flyers to your membership. That was incredible.
No, don't mention it. We're all here to work one another,
Yeah.
to help work
Yeah, and network.
together. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you. I gotta let some dead time go by, and I gotta wave my hand so when... No, you just jump in. I'm gonna talk to all three of you at once. And then whoever wants to talk, I'll just jump in. Okay? Now, I'm standing real close because this is the microphone. It's a stereo microphone. But so I want this to pick up you more than the rest of the room. So that's why I'm being so close. I'm really in your face. I have a zoom. I could stand in the end of the room and I could zoom in. But then the mic wouldn't be picking you up, okay? All right, so... Oh, shoot, you got to scoot over. I haven't got enough line here.
Come on.
Yeah, come on over. Yeah, I'll do you one after another, and then I'll go back and forth, whatever, okay? Hi, so tell us your name and what brought you here.
My name is Javier Santiago. I'm 18. I go to school, Flushing High School, senior. What brought me here is like I have a lot of issues about dealing about gay, especially gay youth and being Catholic. I used to like say to myself I shouldn't believe in God. Now I like want to come back to church and become a spiritual in a way.
Uh-huh. Okay, you came a long way to get here, right? This is Jackson Heights. You came from Washington Heights to get here? It was a long trip?
Oh, no, that's the wrong question. I live in Corona.
Huh? I'm sorry. So, I'll get back to you. Let me shift to this guy over here. Tell us your name and what did you think you'd get by coming here?
Well, my name is Adonis, and I was brought here by Alianza Dominicana, and what brought me to be here was like I'm very interested in finding out more on gays and Catholics.
Okay.
And how it works.
Thank you. All right. And tell us your name.
I messed up, I know.
No, you didn't. No. Some people freeze up. That's why I moved on. But you're doing okay. Is it blinky? I gotta put a piece of black tape right there. You know, you think about it. Who needs a light right there? You know? No, I don't need it. Wait a second. Okay. All right, you're on. So, tell us your name and what brought you here.
My name's Robert, and I came here basically because I was a Catholic in my youth as a child, and when I finally discovered that I was gay, I had a problem believing in Jesus because my family had told me it's a sin, and my church had said that I'd go to hell. So I basically wanted to come back to God in the fashion that I could be accepted by Jesus and the church again.
What was it like being here and hearing two Catholic priests talking about homosexuality?
Being here this evening was very comfortable, and it really opened me up again to coming back to church, because I now know that I'm not the only one that is gay and can be a Catholic too.
What's something that you heard said that you think might go run through your mind a few more times?
That I'm not the only one, and that I have nothing to fear because God loves me, and I'm gay, and I can still worship Him and be gay.
Great. Okay. Let me stop it. Go.
A lot of my friends are not gay youth out there, even though there's this type of organizations that don't believe in God. There's a lot of problems out there, especially in the youth. We need more of these type of meetings, especially for the youth.
So you would, if they had meetings like this every month or every week, you might think about coming?
Yes, I will.
What would you like to see happen at a meeting like this?
I would like to see like a meeting, especially to the youth, talk about the issues about being gay and I don't know.
Okay, help them out. What are your ideas? What would you like to see happen, or what are you thinking about seeing this thing?
Okay, what I would like to see is like more teens out there. I would like to see them more involved in this type of a program where they would be like gay Catholics who would teach the youth on everything that is to know, because I have tons of gay friends who, like he said, don't believe in God. They think that we all are going to go to hell. They think that there's like no scapegoat, there's no way out, so they just shut themselves from everything and believe that there's a God at all.
Any things you heard said tonight that you think you're going to reflect on or
Yeah, it gives me like a lot of inspiration. The priest, I forgot his name. It gives me a lot of inspiration. He's like here, even though he's not out in his church, he still like gives us a lot of support, and he quoted from the Bible. You're supposed to love God. God loves you no matter what. That was really inspirational.
Okay, anything else anybody want to say? Any other ideas? Hey, thank you very much. You guys are great. Then I got to do this for the editor so he knows where, when he's racing through, where your part starts. You had some interesting comments to make.
Yeah, I thought the priest was a little bit accommodationist. I don't think as gay people that we ought to take the crumbs from the table. We ought to say that the church, we ought to acknowledge that the Roman Catholic Church has been the oppressor of gay people, but that doesn't mean it's wrong to believe that Jesus is God or that God's goodness comes through the sacraments. And that really was my point. We shouldn't settle for the crumbs on the table, we should claim it all. It's very...
Give me 6 seconds to roll. Okay.
I also want to say that all this business about, oh, we were born gay, so don't condemn us. Screw that. If I had a choice, I would choose to be gay. Okay? I don't think there's anything wrong with being gay. I think being gay is a great thing. And I'd rather be gay than those screwy bigots who hate us. There is nothing wrong with being gay. There's nothing in the Bible that says is wrong with being gay. There's condemnations of male rape, there's condemnations of prostitution, but there's nothing wrong. There's nothing in the Bible that says it is wrong to be gay. There's nothing in the Bible that says it's wrong to love another man or another woman. And some of the more impressive couples in the Bible are gay couples. What about David and Jonathan, or the centurion and his boyfriend that Jesus speaks to? Just because the gay interpretation has been read out in the past doesn't mean that we have to read it out. It's our Bible and our church just as much as those who hate us. And I don't think gay people ought to go snivelling around. It's good to be gay. God is gay after all.
Say that again?
God is gay after all. After all, if God's a male God and he wants me to love him, that's pretty queer, no? If I look at a statue of Jesus and Jesus is there as a man and I love this man, is that not a homosexual attraction? I think it is. If there's a woman who loves the Virgin Mary, is that not a lesbian attraction? I realise people might not say this, think it very often, but it's seriously there. You know, Catholicism is a pretty queer religion in many respects, so as a historian I have no difficulty proving that. So that's my perspective. You're still filming me?
I'm trying to practice using my fader.
Oh dear.
And I don't know how to make it. Let it roll, let it roll, let it roll, let it roll.
You know, another thing I was trying to get across tonight was it's really important to understand that the church gets it wrong. The church gets it wrong lots of times. I'm not saying it's wrong about Jesus being God or Jesus being present in the Mass, but it gets it wrong about moral things all the time. For instance, slavery. The church got it wrong big. The Bible gets it wrong big. People talk about the Bible as a book of morality. In no place in the Bible is slavery condemned. St. Paul tells the slave to go back to his master and the slaves to obey their masters. Another pope, Pope Nicholas V in the 14th century, actually the 15th century, began the slave trade. He gave permission for the African slave trade to begin. Do you know the first pope to attack slavery, to say that slavery is intrinsically and morally evil, is this Pope, John Paul II, God love him. And that's a change in church teaching. Never before has any pope said slavery is wrong. The church changes its teaching. It changes its teaching often and frequently, especially about moral issues. And that we can think of as the working of the Holy Spirit on some very reprobate people. Those reprobate people tend to have a hold on the leadership of the church. So I think that for gay Catholics, that's really important to understand. The Church has never tried to speak infallibly on homosexuality, and it's wrong in what it says. It's wrong in the way it attacks us, and that was important.
Great. And give Finney the hand signal he taught me to give him. Oh, no. And on.